In today's teaching tip video, we'll talk about free practice and controlled practice, what they mean, and how you can use them in your classes. So this is mainly for English teachers who are teaching English courses like face-to-face, English file, but you can still apply it for any other course. So even math, science, whatever it is, you can actually use this, but it's mainly aimed at English teachers. So, free practice and controlled practice. What does this mean? As the name suggests, how correct or how students are using the language. So, if your target language is, for example, teaching present continuous or present simple or present perfect, you want to make sure in controlled practice that they're using the language properly. Of course, we'll look into error correction techniques that you can use, but for controlled practice, you want to give them or guide them in a way that they basically can't make a mistake. So this is what the controlled practice means. So you're giving them the material that they're going to work with. So you're giving them sets, templates or sentences that they can change. So for example, I like apples. So you can give them different things that they can like: apples, bananas, oranges, kiwis, whatever, and they can change the template you already gave them. So I like kiwis, I like bananas. What do you like, Mohammed?
Orange.
So I
like orange.
Good. So for Mohammed here, he didn't have much freedom to change anything else. So this is controlled practice. I gave him the template, I like, and then I gave him options. Oranges, kiwis, bananas, and whatever. He chose oranges. Oranges are nice. As for free practice, this gives the students more freedom and more, freedom to explore whatever you're learning. So things like role-playing, storytelling, anything where they can make their own sentences, this is called free practice. So your main goal here is to have students use the language. So error correction, of course, is very different from these two, but for free practice, you never interrupt them. So your main goal or your main objective is to have them speak. You're forbidden to interrupt them. So this is a huge taboo in CELTA or PSEL. Whenever you're doing free practice, you should never interrupt students. Okay, so bottom line is, controlled practice is when you're aiming for accuracy. This is called controlled practice, usually in the middle of the lesson, sometimes even at the beginning. So you're aiming for, having the students to be as accurate as possible. Free practice is you're aiming for fluency. So you're aiming for the students to use whatever you've learned, usually at the end of the lesson, and they're both a good way to gauge or measure how or what students understand from your lesson, especially free practice. So at the end, without interrupting them, you can write these notes down. We'll go into error correction later on. For free practice, as they're speaking, you can tell, or you can at least measure and say, okay, they're using the language properly, they're using whatever rule or whatever we learned properly, and that means you've achieved the main objective of the lesson. Otherwise, it means there are some mistakes, or the students need more practice, so maybe you can do that. Doing error correction, which is something we'll cover next week, in order to help students understand the things that they've missed. This is it for this week. Thank you very much for watching. Please feel free to leave a comment if you have any questions, and please share the video to keep this series going, and I'll see you next week. Keep learning and growing with Mr. Anas.